She said she was tired of being treated like she was hiding something. So I left a full list of what I found, labeled. Things you said you weren't hiding. Ohio. Small town. Same people at the same diner. You go to church on Sundays, mow the lawn on Saturdays, and nod at your neighbors during the week. That's where I'm from. I work as a mechanic. I like fixing things. Cars, lawnmowers, even my kids' broken toys. It's easier than fixing people. I was married for 15 years. Her name's Sarah. 2 kids, boy and girl. We lived in a 2-story colonial near the high school where she worked as a librarian. Pretty regular life. I brought home the money, worked with grease under my nails, and she had summers off. We weren't rich, but we weren't struggling. Decent house, decent life, or so I thought. It started with small changes. She'd laugh at her phone a little too long. She'd lock it even when it was just us in the room. New perfume. New underwear. Working out more. She started staying late at work for inventory. Librarians don't do that. Not for hours, not regularly. I asked questions. Not a fight, just basic stuff. Who are you texting? She'd roll her eyes. A teacher from work. Which one? You don't know them. She was always annoyed. Always short with me. She said she was tired of being treated like she was hiding something. She looked me in the eye and said it like I was crazy. I started writing stuff down. It felt dumb at first. But then the lies started piling up. Tuesday she said she was at the gym. I drove by. Her car wasn't there. I waited 45 minutes. Still nothing. When she came home, her hair wasn't even wet. No sweat, full makeup. She said she had a good workout. So I got into her phone. It wasn't easy. She changed the password. I waited till she was asleep and used her fingerprint. The texts were there. Not saved under his name. Just K. Nothing crazy at first. But then I scrolled. K. Last night was amazing. I keep thinking about it. Her. You're bad, haha. I had fun too, face blowing kiss. K. Same time next week? Her. Definitely. Can't wait. I scrolled more. There were pictures. Not nudes, but not something a married woman should send. Her in a towel. Her with her tongue out, making that stupid face she used to make for me. She stopped doing that years ago. Now I know why. I didn't confront her right away. I wanted more. I needed proof. Not for me. For the court. For our kids. So I checked the phone records. Same number. Daily texts. Late night calls. I followed her once. She said she was going to a friend's house to help with a garage sale. She ended up at the roadway and just outside town. Cheap place, easy to miss. She parked, walked into room 112. He came out of a blue Ford F-150, older model, rusted on the bottom. They hugged. She kissed him on the neck. I sat there gripping the steering wheel so hard I thought it would snap. They were in there for 2 hours. I didn't need to imagine what happened. I knew. I snapped a few pictures with my phone. Headlights off. Quiet. When she came home, she didn't even flinch. She kissed the kids goodnight like everything was fine. I couldn't sleep. She did this for weeks. Sometimes changing motels. Sometimes saying she had a book club. Once she told me she was at a school board meeting. I was done playing dumb. I printed everything. Every screenshot. Every phone log. Pictures. Receipts. I put it all in a thick manila folder. On the cover, I wrote in black marker. Things you said you weren't hiding? I didn't give it to her. Not yet. I wanted her to lie one more time. I needed that last bit of rage. So I asked her again. Where were you tonight? She looked annoyed. Inventory. I just nodded. Then I handed her the folder. She opened it right there in the kitchen. The kids were upstairs. Her face went white. She didn't even flip all the way through. Just closed it, and put her hands on the counter. "This isn't fair," she said. I stared at her. "You said you weren't hiding anything." She said she was tired of being treated like a liar. That she felt trapped. That it wasn't what I thought. I asked her to say his name. She wouldn't. She started crying. I didn't care. That was the night I packed a bag. Just a gym duffel and my toolbox. I slept in my truck. Next day, I called a lawyer. She didn't even try to stop me. There's more. A lot more. But that was the turning point. You want to say it's over. But it's not. I thought that handing her the folder would be the worst part. But I was wrong. What came after was worse. It was quiet at first. She didn't call. Didn't text. Not even a question about the kids. I figured maybe she felt guilty. Maybe she was giving me space. Then I found out she went around telling people I was abusive. That I was paranoid, controlling, mean. That she was scared of me. She told her sister I used to threaten her. Told her coworkers I was tracking her phone, which I wasn't, until I had to. The town turned cold fast. People stopped waving. Some wouldn't even look me in the eye at the gas station. One guy I used to have beers with asked if I was getting help. I didn't even know what he meant at first. Then he said, "Man, Sarah told us some pretty serious stuff." So now I wasn't just the guy who got cheated on. I was the bad guy. I tried to talk to her once. To ask her why she was saying all this. She just said, "You ruined everything, Dave. I had to do something." That's when I realized she wasn't sorry. She was mad she got caught. And then came him. His name is Kevin. Kevin from high school. He was a loser back then, and apparently he never left town. Works part-time at a tire shop, lives with his mom, and has a DUI. That's the guy she risked everything for. He started showing up to my garage. At first it was accidental. Just driving by slow. Then he came in for an oil change. Smiling. Acting like he didn't know. I serviced his car. Didn't say a word. But the next day, I found a scratch along my truck door. Deep. Fresh. So I bought cameras. Set them up around the shop and my brother's house. He laughed, said I was going full CSI, but I didn't care. I knew this wasn't over. Then one night, I picked up the kids. They were quiet. My son handed me a paper. It was a drawing. Him and his sister in a house with Mommy and Kevin. Big smiles. Underneath it said, "Our new family." She didn't tell me. Didn't ask. She was moving him in. I lost it. Not in front of the kids, but later. I called her. Asked her what the hell she was thinking. She said, "He's good with them. He listens to me. He's not like you." I hung up. Didn't sleep that night. The next morning, there was a post on Facebook. A photo. Her, the kids, and Kevin at a pumpkin patch. Starting new traditions with my loves. I sat there staring at the screen. My hands were shaking. Not with sadness. With something else. Something darker. I printed that picture too. Added it to the folder. Later that week, my daughter started asking if I was okay. If I was sad. I said no. She said, "Mom says you don't love her anymore. That you left her because you didn't want to be a family." That hit harder than anything. Because now, she was turning the kids too. I tried to explain the truth, but how do you tell a 6-year-old her mom's a liar? Then, a twist I didn't see coming. I got a call from her school. The principal said he wanted to talk. I met him the next day. He sat me down, looked uncomfortable. Said Sarah had filed a report. That I had shown up at the school, aggressive, trying to take the kids. I hadn't. Not once. He said they had to take it seriously. That they'd be contacting the authorities if it happened again. I couldn't believe it. She was setting up a case. Slowly. Quietly. Turning public opinion, turning the kids, and now the system. That's when I stopped playing nice. I didn't fight fire with fire. I brought truth. Facts. I went back to the folder. Expanded it. Added timelines, receipts, messages, even voice memos. Every lie. Every visit. Every date and time. Then I hired a private investigator. It wasn't cheap, but worth every dollar. Within a week, I had photos of Kevin picking the kids up from school, smoking in the car with them. One photo of him drinking from a flask while parked in the school lot. Another of him screaming at my son outside a store. Shoving him back into the car. The final one? Kevin and Sarah in a shouting match in the school parking lot. She threw a book at him. He threw it back. School staff nearby. All caught on camera. I didn't send it to Sarah. I sent it to the school. To the lawyer. To the court. No words. Just evidence. And that was only the start. Kevin disappeared for a few days after that. I figured maybe he'd gotten the message. But then Sarah showed up at the garage. It was early. I was doing paperwork before opening. She just walked in like she owned the place. "You set me up," she said, standing by the door like I was going to throw a wrench at her. "No," I said, not looking up. "I just stopped covering for you." She crossed her arms. "You're trying to ruin me." I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. She didn't like that. She looked worn down. Makeup smeared, eyes puffy. "Kevin's gone. Took his stuff and just left. Said he didn't sign up for all this drama." I didn't say anything. She just stood there. Then she pulled a piece of paper from her purse. Laid it on the counter. It was a custody petition. She wanted full custody. Said I was unfit, vindictive, unstable. Said I was manipulating the kids and threatening her safety. She actually brought that into my workplace. I picked it up, skimmed it. "You know this isn't going to go how you think." She shook her head. "You don't understand. I'm losing everything. My job. My reputation. My life." I looked her dead in the eye. "So you're going to try to take the only thing I have left?" She didn't answer. She just turned and left. That night, my daughter had a nightmare. Screamed until I ran into her room. She said someone was knocking on her window. We live in a raised ranch. That window's off the ground. I checked outside, nothing. But I set up cameras around the house too. Just in case. 2 nights later, I caught it. Not Kevin. Sarah. She was outside, knocking. Just standing there in the dark. She didn't even try to hide. Wearing a hoodie, pacing. She didn't try to get in. Just walked around the house, looking up at the windows. For almost 10 minutes. I called the cops. Filed a report. Gave them the footage. They said she seemed unstable, but hadn't broken any laws. So nothing they could do yet. I sent the video to my lawyer. He filed an emergency motion. The next week was court. She showed up all made up, soft colors, looked like she hadn't slept in a month. Told the judge I was hostile. That I had ruined her life. That I was turning the kids against her. My lawyer stood up and showed the judge everything. Every picture. Every video. Even the one of her walking outside our house like some horror movie ghost. The judge didn't say much. Just nodded a lot. Then at the end, he said the kids would stay with me until a formal hearing. Supervised visits for her. Anger management evaluation. Drug test. She cried. Collapsed into a chair like the floor had vanished. I should have felt satisfied. But all I felt was cold. Then the next twist. I got a call from her mom. Now, her mom and I hadn't talked in years. We never got along. But she was crying. Said Sarah had checked herself into a facility. That she was depressed, maybe suicidal. Said the kids needed to know their mom still loved them. I didn't know what to say. I just listened. The kids asked where she was. I said she was sick, getting help. They didn't ask more. A few days later, I got a letter. No name, just the return address of the facility. Inside was a folded piece of notebook paper. In Sarah's handwriting. Everything you said about me was right. I'm not proud. I don't expect forgiveness. But please don't let them hate me. There was no apology. Just those words. Then something else fell out of the envelope. A picture. Me and her years ago. Our wedding day. She wrote on the back. I miss the people we used to be. That messed with my head. But I wasn't going to let it mess with my life. Not again. I didn't reply to her letter. I kept it though. Stuffed it in the back of that folder with everything else. Maybe out of habit. Maybe out of some leftover piece of me that still wanted answers. But I was done letting her twist the truth. Done letting her rewrite the story to make herself the victim. A few weeks passed. She got out of the facility and went straight to her sister's house. Her mom told me she wasn't doing well. I didn't ask. I didn't care. The court date came for the final custody decision. She looked thinner. Wore a cardigan that drowned her shape. Her hair pulled back like she didn't want to be seen. Kevin wasn't there. He was long gone. No one knew where he went. Just disappeared one day. Poof. She asked to speak in private with the judge. My lawyer objected. The judge said no. Everything stayed in the open. She stood up and said she was sorry. Said she had made mistakes, that she had lied, that she had cheated. Said she had hurt everyone, especially the kids. But then she said I was cold, and vindictive, and obsessed with making her suffer. I felt the rage crawl up my throat, but I stayed quiet. Let her talk. Then it was my turn. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I told the truth. Simple. Straight. I said I had loved her for 15 years. That I raised our children while she was sneaking off to motel rooms. That I watched her lie to my face over and over. And still, I didn't take the kids from her. She did that herself. I handed the judge the last envelope. Inside was something she didn't know I had. A copy of her school's investigation file. Turns out before she checked herself in, they had already started the paperwork to fire her. Not because of the affair, but because of missing funds from a grant program. Thousands gone. She had access. Her name was all over the logs. I never reported it. I didn't need to. But I made sure the judge saw it. When he read through it, his face didn't move. He just nodded. Then he said something I won't forget. Some people destroy their own lives, and others just document it. He granted me full custody. No visits. Not even supervised. She could reapply in a year if she completed therapy, stayed sober, and paid child support. Which, with no job, was going to be impossible. I walked out of that courtroom with the folder still under my arm. She stayed sitting, staring at the floor like the lights had gone out. A few days later, I burned the folder. I didn't need it anymore. But the final twist came when I least expected it. 2 months after the court date, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a note. Handwritten. Short. You won. I hope it was worth it. Taped to the back was a photo. My daughter's school photo, taken just weeks before. One I hadn't received yet. Someone had gotten it. I called the school. They said only a parent or guardian could access those. They didn't send it to anyone else. Not even her mom. I checked the school pickup list. Somehow, someone had added Kevin's name back on. Turns out, Sarah never stopped talking to him. Turns out, she gave him access before the court date. Had it all set up in case she lost. I went straight to the cops. They found him in West Virginia. Living in a trailer, using a fake name. Had a new girlfriend, 2 stepkids. When they searched his place, they found photos of my kids. Drawings. Letters. Some from Sarah. Dated after the custody ruling. She had lied again. Lied to me, lied to the judge, lied to everyone. She didn't lose the kids. She was trying to steal them. She went back to court, this time in handcuffs. Charged with contempt, custodial interference, fraud. They're still sorting out the charges. I sat in the back row that day. Watched her cry as the cuffs clicked shut. She looked at me one last time. No words. Just a look. I didn't smile. I didn't flinch. I just walked out of the room. Sometimes people say revenge is a dish best served cold. But for me, it was never about revenge. It was about truth. I didn't ruin her. She did that all by herself.